7, right?
No. No.
Um, okay,
Gotta use 5 or 6. I'm sorry, 6.
yeah, I will download TeamO 6 in a minute. I changed my hard drive, so
Ooh, that stinks.
yeah, and this is
Did you have
why.
backups?
Well, I lost everything, but I mean I have everything up and running right now. Only thing I'm missing is TeamViewer 6 right now because that's actually I downloaded yesterday and then today like I when I was um, uh, like I accidentally upgraded that system.
Yeah, no problem. No problem.
Okay, and then I'm going to run it right now, so that hopefully it will work. Everything else is up and running.
Cool. Yeah, that stinks when the hard drive crashes. Man,
Yeah.
had that happen. I've lost a lot of stuff, and then I got a program that backs everything up for me. So,
Oh, okay. Let's see. Set default. Yes. Sorry. Ready? Here it goes. Okay. Okay. Well, are you ready?
yeah, let me find you here.
Okay. I have a different ID number.
Different ID. That's why I don't see you. Okay.
It's
All right. Let me grab my keyboard here. Okay, go ahead.
okay. It's 481
481.
436
Okay.
904,
904.
and the password is 3263.
3263. All right. Give me 1 second. Let me um, put you in my buddy list here.
Yeah. Now I have 6 and 7 both.
Paste. Harmon. All right. Now you're on my buddy list. All right. How'd your exercises go?
Yeah. As we discussed, I mean, this is what I did. About 7 days.
Okay.
Well, let's see. From there, right here.
All right. How many screens you got? 1, 2, 3? No, just one, huh? Okay.
This is 440. That's what you said. Like 440 and 144 are the main charts, right?
Yeah. I highly recommend 2 screens though.
Mm-hmm.
Um, somewhere down the road, if you can just, get an old screen somewhere. The wider the better. If you can get a 22-inch, that's great. But as long as you have a second screen, that's the main thing. Because we have our 440 on one screen and the 140 with all the BBs on the other screen.
Okay, makes sense.
Okay, let's just see how your beauty contest went here.
Yeah.
7. Yeah. Okay. I might even give this guy an 8 here. Let me get my pointer. It's easier for me to point. There we go. I might even give him an 8, but yeah, seven's very reasonable. Okay, yeah, he's a little longer. Okay, I like that. 9, 7. Okay. Mm-hmm. There you go. Beautiful. Nice and short. Doesn't get much. Yeah. Oh, I love this one here.
Right.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful there. This guy on top here, he deserves some attention too.
Yeah, that's kind of
Coming.
9.
Yeah, coming. Oops. Oh, we got to fix your toolbar.
I will fix that later because I mean I wrote down everything.
Okay, well, I'm trying to draw here, so let's see. What is the circle? Ellipse is control F11. Okay. Well, sounds like you need to replace a battery in your smoke detector, huh? Yeah, I'd give that guy a 10. Okay, just because he's come from the top. Yeah. Anything from the top is very, very predictable.
Okay. Now I'm going further down. I mean, other way. Yeah.
I'm sorry?
Yeah. I started from here.
Oh, this is where you started. You went to the right. Okay, I gotcha. Gotcha.
So how's this 10 look like?
I'm sorry?
That number 10 right there on the top.
Number 10. Let me get down there and take a peek. Yeah, absolutely. 10. And he's a little from the side, okay? But still, just seeing the amount of separation he's got like that, coming from the top like that, I just got to give him 10. Because if you just pay attention to the picture he's presenting here, it's a picture that has a high probability of working. Very seldom does he have that type of separation actually hit the band and bounce back up. He does, but not with that type of separation. He usually follows through. Okay, yeah. I like this guy compared to this guy here. Open him up a little bit. Well, they're both about the same. Okay, yeah. What I like about this guy, he curled nice and slow. Okay, when they curl nice and slow like that, there's a lot of opportunity to get in.
Okay.
The window of time is grander to get into a trade like that because it's rolling nice and slow. What about that when there's no separation or little separation? This is the pattern of the foot. Okay, it's still the pattern of the foot. It's just not a very pretty foot, because a pretty foot in my eye is when we have separation back here at the heel and then he comes in. It's kind of like the drop and the pop. But this guy here, he's on the rail, okay, so he doesn't show much potential to go down at this particular point right here.
Right.
But as he does this and makes the foot pattern, okay, he increases in value of points. I would actually bump him up from a 6 probably to an 8. If he would have had more separation at the heel and had a blister at the ball of the foot right here, okay, I would have given him a definite 10. But he didn't have the characteristics of the separation here and the bulge here. But he was the shape of the foot, okay? And what happens with the shape of the foot is right here when it compresses like this, it usually has the impulse of a pretty good push to the downside. And then with the bulge up here, okay, it even magnifies that separation more with a thrust to the downside.
Okay.
Okay. This one here, okay, this particular picture, it is more challenging to get in the trade because it happens quicker. Okay. Here this guy rolled nice and slow.
Right.
Okay. This guy almost had like a V, and a V is a smaller window of opportunity to get in because it just happens quicker.
Right.
Okay, but yeah, I agree with the 9. Absolutely. This guy was hard to predict. I might even give him a 6, just because he didn't really catch my. This one did. This one had separation with symmetry all the way down. Okay, this one, yeah, okay. This one is very difficult to get in. The 9 that you got here, a V like this is very difficult to get in. In fact, it's unless you're actually paying attention and waiting for it to happen, it's very difficult to catch something like this. But after the fact, once you see a V like this, if this BB here is grander in other words, if this one went down further than this one, we can anticipate there's a large impulse to the downside, and it usually breaks through the band when it does that. This one didn't, but what usually happens if this BB and this BB, they're called twins. If this BB is on the downside here, if this BB is still higher than this impulse was down, there's a grander push back down than there was going to the upside, and what usually happens is this one will actually cause it to start printing on the rail. I mean, he didn't here, but that's normal behavior to expect. Like this one here, we had a V with this guy and this guy are, well, I'd say these two are the same, but this one and this one I would call the twins. Right. These two, and this one had a larger impulse down. You would expect it to start printing onto the rail.
Oh, okay. So that's another paying attention to the details is like
exactly.
Look for the BBs, how they're grinding up and how they're grinding down. So
absolutely. And the problem, like I said, the problem with the V is you're not going to take a trade because of that, because by the time you see it, it's going to be too late.
Right.
Okay. But if you're in the trade, it's something to pay attention to and have anticipation of it getting through and starting to print on the rail. Okay. There's a lot of signals, a lot of signs that we use. Drawing tools, ellipse, Control F11. Right here we've got something that we call the elephant. I'm going to make the eye. Okay. What we have here is the forehead, and here the nose starts, and there's the trunk. Can you picture that?
Yeah.
Okay. What we have when we see this picture is line F2. This little piece of real estate right here is very important. Okay. When we see we are in a trade, this is an observation after we are in a trade. Once we are in the trade, we got in up here, but we're just looking for some sort of a sign that everything is going in our direction. Okay, so what we see is the V here. Okay, that's a good sign that we're going to break through and start printing on the rail. Also, we watch for the elephant, the forehead of the elephant. After the forehead, we usually have this little piece of real estate right here that can do two things. Well, actually three things. It can go sideways, horizontal like this. It could angle to the upside just a little bit, or it could angle to the downside just a little bit. Right here you can see this one angled down right away. It wasn't really going horizontal. Okay? If you're in a short and this thing is horizontal, there's a good chance it could come down, swoop back up, and make a foot. Okay? If it's still horizontal, it's a bad sign for your short.
Okay.
If it's up, okay, it's even a worse sign for, something like that. It's even a worse sign for your short. But if it's angled down in your favor, that gives you the confidence to take a deep breath and say, okay, relax. Everything is going in your favor here. Don't stop sweating, stop being nervous. Okay? It's just a little confirmation, a little pat on the back that says, yeah, you did good. You're okay. Don't worry about it. Go grab a cup of coffee in the kitchen. Come back. Okay? Because sometimes, listen, once we're in a trade, there's not much we can do except sit there and watch it. Okay? And if it's going to make you crazy, you need things to make you feel better. Right. And one of them is the dot here with the V. Okay, this twin is lower than that twin. There's a good probability we're going to print on the rail. Once we're in the trade, we need confirmation. Hey, it's going in our direction. We look for this little piece of real estate to show us, yeah, you're okay. Don't worry about it. Okay? Right. And also we anticipate that once we have one BB on the rail, we more than likely have two more for a total of three.
Okay.
So once we're in the trade, there's a lot of things that keep our sanity to make us feel better that, yeah, don't worry, you're okay. One is the V, one is the elephant slope here, one is anticipating the first BB to print, because then there's a high probability of two more. There's usually a total of three. Okay?
All right.
And yeah, here's it. I like this 10. Yeah, just because he didn't work doesn't mean, he's not a good guy because he wasn't in our area. This guy is a 9. Yeah, okay. Wasn't in our area. That's all.
I mean, they both nines I gave the because I mean the first nine is kind of V, but the other one is kind of rolling.
That's fine. The 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 measurement of the beauty contest. The larger the separation, the
Hmm.
larger he gets scored. Okay, so this one is a little bit larger. If we were going to scale them, I would say maybe this one down here is an 8.5. This one is a 9, something like that.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Also, he's just a little bit longer with his separation.
Right.
Okay. So this one would get just a little bit more points than this one would
Right.
because he was easier to anticipate. He was easier to spot because if we're looking at it from the vertical line to the left, right about there at the third BB, you could say, man, we've got some separation here. Where this one here, if you're looking from the vertical to the left, whoops, he wasn't as easy to spot. Okay, he just looked like he was more ripe for the pickings right here.
Right.
Okay, and it's all a matter of how we're going to anticipate what's going to happen before it happens. So the more clues we have, the better we can anticipate something like that happening. Okay, yeah, I like that. 8. Okay, good. Very good. This one is nice because he's got symmetry coming all the way up. Doesn't have a lot of separation, but he's easy to predict because the symmetry just tells you right here at this point right here, something is changing. If that's at one of our areas, bingo. Beautiful, yeah. 8. Nice separation here.
Right.
Great, yeah. Just because he doesn't work doesn't mean we can't appreciate him. This guy here, I don't know if I would give him anything, to be honest with you. He's very hard to predict.
Yeah, it has no separation at all.
Yeah, he's hard to forecast. I mean, he could be going up on the rail like this forever, ever, and it's really not a good clue here until right here, until he turns, then we can see. But at this point, it's usually kind of late. But yeah, you gave him a 7. I wouldn't give him more than that, maybe even a 6. But yeah, this guy gets more because he had more separation.
Now, does the separation at the end counts more, or is just an indication?
The separation at the end is very important because sometimes it
Uh-huh.
will just curl right at the end and just get grander.
Right.
Okay, but that's something you need to be looking at as it's happening. Otherwise, you're not going to see it. Okay, if you take your eyes off of it, you're probably not going to see it because it's the curl at the very end like that. And
Right.
we're looking at so many different things. Okay, it might be hard to spot. That's why if we see it, coming from a distance with a symmetrical pattern, it's easier to spot.
Right.
Uh, we're looking for advance notice so we don't have to, this guy right here, just watching him as he's coming up like this. Okay. And all of a sudden, poof, he shoots down to the downside. The window is pretty small to get in because all of a sudden, instead of curling real slow like this, he had the separation, but he just decided all of a sudden to poof, pop to the downside. So we would have seen him coming, but the point of impact, he just instantly hit whatever area it was. So if this was our area, we would be anticipating what was happening,
Hmm.
but the window of opportunity is smaller because he did the V type of a thing. He just pushed down quick.
Right. And if we see the twins like that, it's not in
Right. There's
whatever.
well, this this guy would be the twin, but this guy already had a head start. You know what I'm saying? So it's really not fair to say this twin is lower than that twin. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
They didn't start at the same place. So if I brought this black guy up, they'd probably be even. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? I try to be fair with the V's. Okay, this guy was very hard to predict because he was jibber jabber. I mean, back and forth. Hard to predict. I mean, this quick little bounce here. I would have to eliminate him completely and just say that was garbage.
It has to be symmetrical before we can predict anything from the picture.
Exactly. This is very unpredictable here.
Hmm.
Okay. Yeah, there's a separation, but it was very unpredictable. Like this guy was more predictable because he was more symmetrical with his separation. Okay.
Right.
Foot formation, yeah, absolutely. Beautiful foot formation. Sometimes we don't get that heel separated. Sometimes we don't get that blister up here. Here we got a little bit of a blister. I mean, I could definitely see that, but absolutely. Foot formation, absolutely. I prefer to see the foot with a nice long leg like this.
Hmm.
Okay, but still, foot pattern is a foot pattern. Here we got the V. Okay, didn't do what he's supposed to do, but he's got a high probability of printing on the rail. Here's the V. Okay, this one actually did what he was supposed to do, but they have a high probability of printing on the rail when you see that V. But was it at our area? That's the thing. A lot of these look good, but hey, if they're not our area, it doesn't really matter how beautiful they look. I'm just trying to combine a picture like this at our area. And this guy would have been very difficult to spot. I mean, here it took off to the moon, but there's no way we would have known that because it wasn't predictable. It wasn't
Right.
symmetrical. It didn't have separation. I can't say, man, how did I miss that? Because it didn't tell me it was going to do what it was doing.
Right.
So we can't blame ourselves for that. Great, great. Yeah, sometimes it gets separation, but it's not at our area. So, yeah, I agree. Yeah. Okay, he doesn't have a lot of separation. I agree with the 9 right there. Very good.
But it's kind
Very
of
good.
foot formation. It's kind of foot formation, man.
Uh, mm,
No.
nah, yeah. It's saying like same thing as saying that this is a foot formation here.
Right.
Okay, not up here, but down here. It's really not. Um, what it is more of is the drop in the pop,
Drop in the
because
pop.
this could be our 76, this could be our double top.
Hmm.
Okay, it's got the foot, the idea of the foot, but it's way too far up to be a foot. This one's way too far down to be a foot.
Right. Makes sense.
Okay, if this guy right here, this would have been probably the extent of saying, okay, this is a foot. But as he got down here, he just blew the whole picture. And here we got garbage, 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 garbage. Here's a nice one. Okay. He was beautiful here until he started doing this here. The second one was nice. The third BB's like, oh, what are you doing? Okay.
Hmm.
I would have liked to see him roll symmetrically, but he started angling down. And when I'm seeing him angling down like this, it's showing me that he's in deflection mode.
Hmm.
In other words, like this one here, he's in deflection mode. He's not in cut across mode. The angle, this little piece of real estate right in here, he's pointing to deflect off of the band, not cutting across to cut through. Like this guy here, he's in cut through mode. He's angled at a 90-degree angle. This guy isn't. He's angled kind of the angle of where the band is. It's just gonna bounce off of the band. It looks like. Where this guy here, he looks like he's cutting through right here.
Uh-huh.
This guy right here, he looks like he's cutting through. Okay, so what I'm seeing here is deflection. He's angled the same way that the band is. I'm thinking he could go further down and deflect. It all depends on what the area is. Okay, that's the important thing. What the area is. Trying to put the two and two together at the area. Yeah, this guy, I don't know if I'd give him a 7. He'd be very hard to predict. Okay, maybe I'd give him a 6, if anything.
Okay.
Okay, beautiful. These are my favorite. I just love how they separate with this type of separation. Okay, it's just easy to predict. We got a lot of advanced notice. Okay, as he's approaching one of our areas, this guy is very easy to predict. It's probably one of my, not my favorite, but one of my favorites because he's just so easy to predict.
Separation with symmetry and then
Yes.
the smooth rolling.
Yes, the smooth rolling is very important because no rush, got plenty of time to decide. Where this one here, you better make your mind up quick if you're going to get in because poof, he just took off.
Right.
We try to get in at the very, very bottom. Okay, getting in at the very bottom is a little more challenging when we see this type of a V type of a picture.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, here's separation underneath. This would have been a beautiful foot if he would have just kept going up like
Right.
that, but he came down one more time, and I would have got real nervous seeing that. Okay, but sometimes the foot actually has three pivots.
Okay.
It's three little pivots. It's not uncommon to have a foot with, an extra ball of the foot, you might say.
Right. Okay. I think that's it. That's great.
Okay. All right. Yeah, you get the idea. You get the idea. Okay. The next thing we're going to go over is the relationship of the BBs with one another.
Okay.
And for that, we're going to go to your 144. This guy, we'll put him over here somewhere. Going to go to your 144 and all your BBs. All right, let's see what we can find here. All right, looks like what chart is this? Data series 1597. Looks like she's broken. Oh, still broken. Ah,
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, it has color match. Okay. It happened last time also. Like okay, and I figured like okay, what was the deal?
and you know what? I sent these to everybody, and you think I would remember when that happens? It's like I know what the problem is. I just don't remember how to fix it right now.
Yeah.
But okay, cool. All right, let's find a good example here. Let's okay, what you're going to do is do some BB exercise. Have you been on the blog at all, looking at some of the videos?
Have seen some videos? Yes.
Okay, somewhere in the exercise folder. Okay, I actually had some uploaded there just for example purposes
Uh-huh.
of what this exercise is. So maybe if you see them, you kind of have an idea what we're going to do here. What we're trying to do here is get you to relate the BBs interacting with one another, and we call it passing the baton. So in other words, like in the Olympics, there we have the long distance runners. One guy runs for 5 miles or whatever, and he passes the baton to the next guy to take over, and so on and so on and so on. Is that familiar?
Right. Uh-huh.
Okay. So what we're doing is, initially, let's just say we got into the trade. Okay, it's not important, but we just got into a trade. So passing the baton, what we actually do, wait for the 144, okay, to get into the trade. And what we're looking for is our medium BBs to have potential. And by potential, I'm talking about on our beauty contest, something, a 7, an 8, something like that. So if you're looking at the 440 here, you're saying, well, it's not a lot of potential here, but 610 says, yeah, you're looking a little better here, little more potential here.
Right.
Okay? So as you're back here, we're looking to see where the 233 and the 144 are. Okay, so it's a matter of combining the whole picture and starting off with the medium time frames giving you potential, because if the medium time frames have potential, that indicates that you're probably going to have a good sized run of at least 2.5 to 3 points. And that's all we're really looking for. 2.5 to 3 points give me a clue if the 440 or the 610 or even the 987 are giving me some kind of a clue. I'm going to be paying attention at our areas, and that's one disadvantage of this exercise. You're not going to see if we're at our areas, but it doesn't really matter. You just want to be able to see that the medium time frames have potential, and you're going to get in accordingly with the 144. Okay, so if you're seeing the 144 come down, 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 yeah, no big deal. But you're looking at the mediums to actually give you the clue as to when it's going to turn.
Mm-hmm.
So you're right about here. In between this dot and that dot, you're going to see probably that we've got potential. So the thing that's going to start or initiate the run is your 144 actually turning in that direction. That's our first major indication that this separation here, if it's going to work, the 144 is actually starting the parade. Okay? So when we're trading live, we're actually looking at price bars here, but for this exercise, you're not going to be looking at price bars.
Okay.
So you're kind of going to be in the dark, but I'm just trying to get you to see the relationship between the BBs as they progress. Okay, so you're in the trade. We're looking at this guy right here. Let me get my pointer. Okay, so we're seeing this BB here, the thing I was talking about with the V. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
when we see the V, there's a high probability it's going to start printing on the rail. That's just, you know, the data that we've collected. There's a higher probability of it cutting through and printing on the rail than bouncing back down. Okay, but it still does bounce back down. But anyway, that's one thing you're looking at. The next thing you're waiting for is the elephant forehead. Okay, so you're looking at the elephant forehead, and all of a sudden you've got one printed on the rail. The next thing you're looking for is the elephant to slope his nose.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so at that point you've got three printed on the rail here.
Okay.
You've got the slope elephant on the 144. Next thing you're looking for is the 233. By the time the 233 does the same thing, 2, 3, 5 minutes could have gone by of uncertainty.
Uh-huh.
Okay, but you're looking at the BBs here. You say, okay, 440 is starting to curl up. 610 is looking pretty good. I just need to wait and see what happens, because right now there is no more information for you to judge your entry on or base your entry on. You just need to walk away, go do some jumping jacks, go do some push-ups, go grab a cup of coffee, because there's nothing you can do to make you feel better at this point. Okay, so the next thing you're actually waiting for is the baton to be passed from the 144 to the 233. The first thing you're looking for is this elephant nose, or the BB starting to print on the rail. Until you start printing on the rail, you got to be real nervous, because the trade could still go against you. It could come back down for a drop in the pop type of a thing. Anything is possible. Once you see it on the 233, you can relax a little bit. Say, okay, things are going in my favor.
Okay.
Once you see the first BB on the rail, at that time you have a high probability of being able to see where this little elephant nose is pointing, horizontal or pointed in your direction. Okay, so right at this point, you should be able to breathe a little easier and say, okay, now the 233's got it, and it looks good. Okay, so you're watching that elephant. All the time you're waiting for this next one to get up on the rail and print on the rail. Okay, so here we got 1, 2, 3. We're waiting for this guy. Now a couple more minutes need to pass.
Uh-huh.
All the time you can look at this 610. This one is, oh my goodness, I forgot to even look at the 987. This 987 here would have given me a lot of confidence.
Right.
Just because of this separation here.
Right.
Okay, I didn't even notice that. I was looking at the other ones here when I was explaining. But this 987 really would give me a lot of confidence to stay in the trade, because when you see this type of separation, especially this type of separation, what that tells me is this bulge here, the way the string is pulled back on the bow and arrow, it has a very good chance of shooting it across to the other side, at least to the other side.
Right.
So when I see this type of separation, the least I'm expecting is the BBs to at least get to the other side there. So I'm very confident as I'm seeing this picture here.
Right.
But still, I'm passing the baton. The 233 gives it to the 440. I'm waiting for that nose. Right here, I can see the nose is kind of not going horizontal, but actually
Going in the direction.
going in my direction. That makes me feel good, okay? Because I'm nervous. I'm shaking. I'm sweating. You know, my palms are wet. I just need somebody to tell me, yeah, everything is great. Everything is fine. Don't worry about it. So passing the baton, waiting for this first guy, and he's just not printing on the rail here. But here I'm looking at this guy. It's okay, nothing to worry about. I know that he's going to at least touch the rail here. So that this bulge doesn't always appear like this, but seeing a picture like this, I'm pretty confident that we're going to actually get to at least right here. Right. Then we could bounce off, but at least we're going to get to right there. Right. Okay? But anyway, I'm just still passing the baton. Still passing the baton. Waiting for this elephant to pass it to that elephant, to pass it to that elephant. Now I see the slope here, which is great. I'm looking for the curl. Okay? At this point, I'm seeing the BB touching the other rail there. That's the least it's going to do. I'm hoping for more, but that's the least it's going to do. That least that I expect of it. But then I'm looking at this bulge here. Okay? This is a big enough bulge. It's going to push it at least to the other side.
Right.
Okay? So I've still got confidence because of this bulge now. This one is pointing down, but I could go up 5 points before this one, actually is affected.
Right.
The 4181, I mean, he could have a little blip up, nothing major on the 4181, but still, you could go up 5 points, and the 4181 is hardly even going to be affected. So I'm still waiting for the baton to be passed here. Looking good here. The elephant's trunk is growing here. Everything's looking good. I've got the first one on the rail, second one on the rail, third one on the rail here. All of a sudden here I'm looking, I've got the first one on the rail, I'm trying to get 2 more, okay, and so on and so on and so on. By the time you get 3 on this rail here, I mean, we're way up here already, okay?
Right.
And there's a matter of how many points do you want to have in your wheelbarrow. I mean, somewhere up here where I see it going sideways a little bit, I might even get out right here. You got 4 points right there. And that wasn't even looking at the price bars, okay? The thing with the price bars is they just make you nervous. If you see these price bars going down here, oh, man, now we're going back down. Right. Okay, but nothing said that we're going down here on the BBs. Okay? Right. Nothing really said we're going down here. These guys said we're still going up to this. These guys said we're still going up to this. This foot type of a thing here says, man, we're gonna probably at least hit this. So when we're hitting this, I'm looking for this elephant nose here. He's saying, don't worry about it. Okay? So if you look at all the pictures and combine all the pictures, that will tell us a story of whether we should be nervous or whether we should just stand fast and hold our ground because everything looks good. Looking at the price bars, once I get into a trade, I more or less stop looking at my 144 BBs. I stop looking at my 233 BBs after they get the elephant nose.
Okay.
In my favor, because they just make me nervous. First thing I do is I shut down my 144 BBs. I don't want to look at them. They just make me nervous. They make me crazy. They do all kinds of up and downs, and if I look at it, I'm going to get scared out of my trade. I like to watch the 440, the 610, and sometimes the 987. If I include the 987, I'm looking at upwards of 4+ points. But if I can just gauge this passing of the baton on the 440, by the time everything plays out, sometimes I just look at my dome and say, okay, I got 3 nuggets, 3 points. I'm good. I'm done. Okay. Right. Yeah, there could be more to the upside, but I've got what I came for. Why should I get greedy? A bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. A lot of times I'll just get out because of that. No big deal. Okay, I mean, and I've had I don't know if you watched the videos, but I had one girl that she said she made like 11 points just looking at the BBs. She goes, I've never had such success without looking at price bars. I might not ever use them again.
Right,
But
right.
it's just a different concept. Okay, when you're trading like this, technically, the price bars don't scare you. When you're trading the BBs like this, technically, you can interpret the price bars doing something, but not getting worried about it because on price, it's not going to go up to the moon without having some sort of a retracement. Okay, it always happens. It's going to be up, down, more up. The only thing we're hoping for, it doesn't go up, back down.
Right.
Okay, but if you're in a nice strong run, and this is a beautiful, I mean, this is a beautiful picture here underneath here. I mean, I don't know, would you give that a 9 or a 10? It's kind of coming from the side, but it's pretty close to a 10 almost.
10 because it's on 987, so 987 is always strong. I mean, to
Yeah,
get
it's always
separation.
strong. Even if we go from here just to here, okay, that's probably 4 or 5 points anyway.
Exactly. And
So
separation in 987 can bring like at least 3 dots or 4 dots.
yes, exactly. So if we're getting this type of separation, it's at least going to come to there. But I would be more or less saying, that's the least is going to happen. Oops, can't get I don't want to get a vertical there.
So you want to make me a video or just to mark the charts?
Have you made videos before? Have you ever done
Yeah,
video?
I know.
Yeah, videos is good practice. We're going to be doing a lot of videos. I mean, if you want to practice with a video on this one, it's a good place to start. Um, but basically, the main thing I'm trying to get you to focus on is actually just um, getting a feel for the BBs interacting with one another.
Okay.
Okay, and what to look for, and it's going to be difficult getting into a trade just looking at the BBs because it's something that you've never done before. So, um, if we have a trending day when you're doing this, it's going to be not very nice because the BBs do one thing and the price does another when we have a trending day. If we have a pivot day, okay, everything is going to work out great. But if we have a trending day, what happens is the BBs do one thing, price does another, and there's no way to tell from the BBs how to gauge or judge anything or anticipate anything. When
Right. Now,
just pull this
now,
down.
would you be like there will be part of education? Like I saw some videos that people they look at 78,000 tech charts and stuff to measure like how the day would be.
One more time, could you run that by me one more
I
time?
mean, I saw some videos where students see like 78,000 tick chart and 28,000 tick chart, and then they predict, okay, where we are going to pivot or it'll be a trending day.
Oh, okay, yeah. Later on down the road, where we look at the larger time frames,
Uh-huh.
that's definitely going to be getting involved with that. But that's not how we trade. That's just something to have in the back of your mind as possibilities, probabilities. That is more or less longer term trading, okay? And that's not really what we're concerned with right at the start. I mean, we're just trying to make 2.5, 3 points. Looking at the larger time frames has nothing to do with making 2.5, 3 points. It has to do with making 20, 30, 40, 50 points. Okay, but still, if you understand what the market is doing, you'll know with a higher degree of certainty which way we have a probability of going that day. It all depends
Exactly.
on area. What needs to happen next because the market goes in repetitive patterns. It does the same thing all the time. Okay, but in all 440. 440 is let's see, where's your
Let me grab that. 440, you want to take it?
taskbar? Oh, there it is. You hide your taskbar. That's where it was. There she is. What are we
since you
looking for?
open that now, how you make that color change, like like when it's market is open and closed?
Just looking for that. Shaded. There we go.
Oh, here it goes.
There. Now we just need to adjust it for your time. Break line. So here's your day break. And your time.
I'm central, so I'm with you.
Also, you're good here then. Okay. So this is your day, your 90 minutes of trading. What we do is at the open, pre-market, okay, we measure the high and the low of the day, okay, and we pivot trade in between this area. That's all we do. We pivot trade within this area. Once it breaks out by more than a point, we stop pivot trading because the rules change. There's different rules for pivot trading than there is trend trading.
Right.
So I give it a buffer of 1 point. If this is the low of the morning right here, okay, here's the white, that's the day, the change of the day, okay? So if it breaks below by more than 1 point, I consider it a trending day, and I stop pivot trading unless it comes back into my arena, which is the high and the low here. The only thing that's changed if it does that is we're just dealing with a new low, okay? But looking at the larger time frames does not really concern me because all I need to know to trade is right here in front of me. Okay, if we break out of the low, I just need to find out where it's going. If we break out of the high, I just need to know where it's going. Life gets more complicated. We're going to collect data, and you're going to discover that 75% of the time, any morning, we're going to come into the market pre-market, and we're going to wait for a trade. Any given day, there's a 75% probability that we're going to have at least one pivot trade from the 76, 89, or the double top.
Yeah.
So with that type of probabilities, if we break out of the low and we stop pivot trading, we're going to save money because there's a whole lot of answers to find after we break out of the low, after we break out of the high. We have to involve other charts. It gets more complicated. Life in its simplest form of trading is if we stay within this high and the low. Life is simple. Life is easy to predict. We have all the information we need right here. Okay, so if I'm looking at this day right here, I don't need to know any other information. I don't need to know what the larger time frames are doing unless we break out of the high, unless we break out of the low. Okay, but on any given day, there's a 75% probability we're going to have at least one pivot trade. So if I'm waiting for this right here, I'm seeing a double top. Okay, BBs are showing me a foot here of some sort. Okay, I'm going to take a trade down to the bottom here. That's all I need. I'm done in 10 minutes. I don't need to worry about all this other stuff here. That doesn't concern me. I want to get in. I want to get out. I want to enjoy my life.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Okay, so this is why we take 440 always.
Yes. Because the reason we use the 440 is because we're not looking at every little pivot. We're not trying to trade every little twist, every little turn. Okay? I'm looking at the 440 because it's a nice medium chart. Okay? If I see separation on a BB, okay, I know that's a medium chart that's going to give me at least 2.5, 3 points. Maybe more, but that's all I'm worried about is 2.5, 3 points. So here we are with a pretty decent looking separation here coming down. What I'm doing is here's the bottom. Here's the pivot on the bottom here. Well, actually, okay, let me just clarify that. This is the morning low right here. Okay, here's the white line, the daybreak.
Uh-huh.
This is the technical legal low of the morning until we hit this one. Okay, but looking at the big picture, what are they looking at? Once this guy here is violated, common sense dictates to me that, well, maybe they're using this as the bottom and not that as the bottom.
Right.
So initially, I would do this, wait for my deep retracement, but before the open even, we're down here. So I know this isn't the low anymore. After this guy is all of a sudden the low. But are they looking at the low from here or here? I don't know. I need to be covering all the bases. Okay, so I'm going to be measuring from this guy after that one is violated. Okay, it breaks out of the low here, but is it more than a point? 17.
6. No.
0 right there. Okay, so there's my point. And look, maybe they're not looking at it from here. Maybe they're looking at it from here. Okay? The first thing that we can take into consideration without going to the larger time frames, if it breaks out of our low by more than a point, the first thing I do is I ask the neighbor next door, do you have any information for me?
Right.
If there's no neighbor, then I need to go look to a larger time frame. If there's a neighbor, that is the simplest answer if we break out of the high or the low. I always ask the neighbor first. If the neighbor doesn't give me any information, then I just throw my arms up and say, okay, now I got to look at the larger time frames. I got to look at the 1597. Because if this guy broke the low, he's going somewhere. But he didn't break this low yet of the neighbor. So what I'm doing is measuring from him here first, waiting for my 76. As I'm seeing the BBs, I'm waiting as the price comes down, waiting for my BBs to turn. Okay? It violates this 100. Well, I know right away that I can use him and I can use him. And I'll give you the rules why we can do that. Oh, goodness, we're running out of time here. Yeah, if you could just make did you see the videos on the website you said?
I did, but I mean, which one now? Now, let me ask you one more question. Now, what would we will be covering next week, so that I'll watch some videos on before ahead of the time on that.
Oh, you don't have to watch the videos. The main thing is with watching the videos is the layout here. What I want you to do is put 4 on top, 144, 233, just the BB. So make a 144, put it here in the corner. Here's a 233, 440, 610. Down here, 987, things like that. Just make 4 on top, 4 on the bottom, and just trade BBs.
Okay.
Okay. The reason I was asking if you watched the video so you can picture the layout. But, it's simple.
I got it. Yeah, I watched that.
4 on the bottom.
Yeah.
Okay, no big. What's good for you next week?
Okay, well, let me recap that a little bit. I mean, what I'm looking for. So basically, on starting in 144, so what I'm looking for is like BB exercise, which is relating BB interacting with each other. So first thing is looking for V on a 144. Then I'm looking for the nose at 144, and then once I saw a nose, like I will jump in 233, and I'm look for the same thing.
Right.
Look for the nose making up on 233, and trying to find like where if the BBs are start printing on the other side of the rail.
Right. Exactly.
And then once it made the first roll on the other side of 233, I will shut the 144 down, and then I go back to 440.
Exactly. Pass the baton one to the next to the next.
And now once I start looking at 440, now I will shut down 233, right? Basically.
Well, not shut it down, okay, but just don't pay as much attention to it anymore.
Okay.
I mean, you don't have to shut it down or get rid of it. Just kind of keep an eye on the next one that's got the ball. Okay. Whoever's got the baton, that's the one that's important.
I'll be starting from low to up, not from upper to low. Like I just like in this picture right now.
Medium. You're looking from the medium for separation for potential.
So I'm looking
Okay,
for
you
the
want
medium.
potential on the medium. The medium is your 440 and your 610.
Okay.
Okay.
Potential and the medium. So the medium, the first thing I will look into the medium before even, because right now we're not concerned about anything about the areas of our home plate, but all we are concerned about our MACDs.
Right. Exactly.
So mediums is 440 and 610. So I'm looking for a separation in 440 or 610, and then I'll start looking in 144
Exactly. 144 for your entry.
for my
But you
entry.
want to have potential. You want to have potential on your 440, 610, even your 987. Whoever shows you the potential.
Okay.
Okay.
First look for the potential and then start looking from 144, like, okay,
Uh,
and then
yeah.
233
Exactly.
and then looking for V and those.
Exactly. Exactly. You got it. If you have if you have any questions, just watch a couple videos of the students there. It'll fall right into place.
Okay.
All right, what you got next week? What's good for you next week here?
It's the same Monday, 11.
Monday is all filled up. Tuesday, I've got a 1 o'clock on Tuesday.
Tuesday, 1 p.m. You don't have any other time on Tuesday?
Nope. Wednesday, I've got 12, 1 or 4.
Whoa, 12, 1, 4 on Wednesday. You'd see, like Wednesday to Friday, then it leaves very little time. But I mean, my computer is fixed now. Let's plan on Tuesday at 1.
Tuesday at 1. Tuesday at 1. And I've got 12, Thursday's fixed full. Friday,
Yeah, Friday.
I've got Friday at 12, 2, 3.
Friday we have 2, 3, 12, 2 and 3. Let's plan for 3.
All right. I will put you down for the 23rd at 3 o'clock and also the 20th at 1 o'clock.
20th and 23rd. Now, can you tell me a little bit like what we will be doing on Tuesdays?
I really don't have time right now, Harmon. I got somebody waiting for me for the next class. We'll go over your exercise here. If you can record it, if you can mark it or something, put arrows on it or something. But we're going to be going over a spreadsheet very soon where we're going to be collecting data for the retracements and stuff that we kind of went over here with the 440 at the end.
Okay.
But I just want to make sure you can understand the relationship of passing the baton to the BBs here. That's one thing we need to make sure you understand real good. Okay?
Now, can I email some videos or Skype you just in case if I make some more than one?
Yeah, send me an email. Okay, that's the best way. Skype, I lose them. Send me an email with the links for your videos.
Okay.
That's the best way.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay.
All right.
All right. See you later.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
One. Okay. 400. Okay, you've got version 7 on there. Did you install the one that I sent you? Okay, we're gonna have to get 6 on there. We're having problems with 7, some of the other students, so we're using 6. Do you still have the email that I sent you? It's in the email. Okay, yeah, if you can put that on there real quick. Five, 773, and there we go. All right, super. All right. Got Ninja running. There you do. Okay. Okay. What's this other garbage you got on there? T3 fibs, next gen garbage. Okay. Next gen didn't help me. It's not going to help you. All right, let's see if that's. There we go. All right. Okay. All right. So let's get you going here. What am I looking for? Oh, here we go. Plot that. And looks like you already changed your time frames, right, for the shaded area? No, you didn't yet. No, you didn't. Okay. Let's see what we got here. Color all, true. The alarm. Your market opens at 9:30? Oh, you're Central Time. Okay, so we're all set there. It was set at 8:30. I thought it looked normal. Okay, got that. And, okay. Let me get my cheat sheet out here. Oh, yeah, you're in Texas, huh? Texas, yeah, nice place to live. Yep. Absolutely, I agree. It's one of the better places to live in the country. You're absolutely right. I agree with that. F10. Mm-hmm. What are you using F10 for? F11. Oh, you mean the message that came up? Yeah, it's being used in NinjaTrader. We're just switching them around here. F10 is being used for a different line. That's why that message came up. Let's see, where's there it is. Ellipse is F4. And the rectangle is F3. All right, let's test it out, see if it works. All right, this one is your fib retracement. This one is your fib extension. This one is your single delete. In other words, the single X, if you highlight just one drawing object, it will just delete that one. The double X will actually give you an option to delete anything. Okay, so that's the double X, and then we've got the line. Your drawing line is that one. Then your vertical line is that one. Horizontal line is that one. Text. Okay, that works. Arrow down. Arrow up. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Actually, Henry's coach was a coach over at NextGen. Henry got a lot of his vision from NextGen, and they actually came after Henry and his coach for copying off of NextGen. But actually what happened was they improved it, and NextGen didn't like that. So NextGen trades basically trends. NextGen doesn't have a clue on how to get in up here at the top or to get in down here at the bottom. They just don't know. They don't understand how the market works. They will get in at the pivot. They will get in at this pivot. Okay, but if they ever get in at the top, it's my goodness. I've never seen it happen if they do. But anyway, nothing bad against NextGen. They just have their own system, and it's got nothing to do with pivot trading. What we know is how to pivot trade, and we're probably the best pivot traders that I've ever seen. So let's start with the meat of the matter here. Let's look at what is the most important thing that we have as tools is the MACD. Okay, the MACD is totally different than what I'm sure NextGen has taught you. They look at it like this. They look at it with the relationship to the zero line and all that good stuff. It has some impact, but there's a lot more to it that they are not aware of, or maybe they're just not telling people. But anyway, what we're going to do here is we're going to have a beauty contest. And what we're going to do is rate the BBs in the order of importance, in the order of power. In other words, what we try to do is predict something is going to happen before it happens. In other words, we're looking for clues. And the major clue that the BBs give us is if they are doing something consistent. In other words, if you notice the BBs are going up here, they're consistent. They're like in a parade. They've got symmetry. They've got this BB looks the same as that BB, looks the same as that BB. The distance between the BBs and the bar and the bands, the Bollinger Bands here, it's consistent. You can see that something is very consistent until it's not. And as soon as it's not consistent, that's a clue that something is about to happen. So if we're aware of that fact, we just sit back and wait for something to change. And something that's very crucial in determining what's happening is the amount of separation between the BBs and the bands, and also the symmetry as they're marching up. Heel, toe, heel, toes. Nice little parade. Everybody's just marching in order. I can see exactly when the first BB gets out of line and says, I'm going to do something different here. Okay? Same thing as this guy is going down. He's not really symmetrical. I mean, he's kind of in and out, but still, he's got a nice amount of separation all the way till he gets to right here. Okay? So as he gets to right here, I got to give him probably a 8 out of a scale of 1 to 10. I'm going to give him an 8 up to this point here, and then he starts coming down here and does one of these things. As he does this, he's actually coming from underneath. Anything that comes from underneath has a higher probability of working than something coming from the side like this. Okay, so this is an 8 just because I had to take away points. He wasn't real straight. In other words, if they were heel, toe, and a nice parade coming down nice and straight, I could have given them another point. But because they're kind of wobbly, I had to take a point away. I only give him an 8. Just because of the nice separation that he's got. Anything underneath like this, okay, he gets an immediate 10 because it's just a very high probability of doing us a favor of going in the direction we're thinking about if he's separated from underneath. And the amount of separation is also very important. I mean, sometimes you'll see it's got a lot of separation. Sometimes you'll notice that they don't have a lot of separation. Well, the more separation, the more power they have. If you can picture a bow and an arrow, the bands, let's say, is the wood part on the bow. This BB's here, they're the string where you pull a string back, and when you release it, it has pressure shooting the arrow off into the direction that we want it to go. Okay, so anything underneath, I give it a 10, just because it's got a higher probability of working out for us. Yeah, exactly. I'll show you some better pictures. It's kind of a difficult one to see from underneath. This one's kind of coming from a kitty corner from the side, but I'll show you a real nice picture. When I see BBs like this, all I think about is, how can I predict something here when everybody is confused? All these BBs are confused, and if they're confused, how can I make a decision? They're not giving me any type of an indication of anything that they're about to do. So if they're confused, I call this garbage, 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 garbage. I can't make a decision off of garbage. Let's go back here. We had some real good days way back here. So, okay, here's a good example. Underneath. This guy underneath. Man, this is just one of the prettiest pictures you ever want to see. Okay, underneath. I got to give him a 10. Just because he's got a nice bulge underneath here. Okay? As he's coming, okay, right here. Let's not forget about this guy. Here he's coming down with beautiful symmetry. Nice parade. Everybody's doing the same thing as the guy before him. And they got some pretty nice separation here. Okay? This picture right here, I got to give it a 9 up to where he gets into the corner here, and then he screws up the whole parade. He's like, man, you had a lot of potential until you did this here. So he was a 9 all the way up to this point. Then he came up, and then actually this 9 turned into a 10 because he had this big bulge underneath. He turned into this big bulge. So actually he started out good, kind of, he lost my favor, and then he actually straightened up and proved himself like, oh, okay, now you're okay. I like that. That's a 10, absolutely. If you see, as these guys are climbing up, they've got nice symmetry, but they don't have the separation. without the separation, it's lacking the indication that it's going to reverse, because when you see it tight on the rail like this, it still has a lot of power. When we see it coming off of the rail, off of the band, that's a sign that it's losing power. It's starting to get tired. It's got a higher probability of reversing because it's getting tired going in this direction. But when it's on the rail like this, that's probably the most powerful picture that you can see going to the upside right here, when these BBs are on the rail like this without any separation. Okay. Here we got separation. Nothing really to get excited about. Okay, nothing to really get excited about. Then he comes up here and he gives me garbage, garbage, garbage. Comes down here, nothing off of the rail. Okay, I really don't. Not necessarily always underneath. It has a higher probability if it does come from underneath. Here's a good example coming from right here. Well, it's not a real good example. It's not a real pretty picture, but it has a higher probability of doing it from underneath than it does coming from the side. Because coming from the side, a lot of times it will go up, come back down, and then try it for the second time. It's when they're from underneath, it's usually the deciding factor that, okay, now for sure I'm going in this other direction. Whereas if they're coming from the side, sometimes they just don't commit and they go further up. So determining from the side, it's a little more of an aggressive entry than an entry when you see the BBs underneath with a bulge. I'm sure with the bulge underneath, it's more probable. That's why they get a 10 from anything that's underneath. Here's a real good example of symmetry coming down with separation. So as it's coming down here, we're just anticipating somewhere it's going to reverse. But when? Okay? Actually, when is when it approaches one of our major areas. And one of my major areas is at the 76, 89, or the double top and double bottom areas. That's the only place that I take an entry from. So what I'm looking for is that picture of the BBs actually giving us that potential as it's approaching one of my areas. So if this area is a 76, 89, or a double top, double bottom, and these BBs are hitting it at that exact area, or home plate as we call it, or launching pad, then I'm willing to take the trade. Okay, so I'm combining the area that I'm at with the picture of the BBs and taking that into consideration as a whole to enter my trade. So here sometimes they work from the side. Okay, sometimes when they come from the side, they have a habit of doing something that we call a drop and a pop. Coming from the side, it sometimes goes back up and comes back down. That's why taking a trade with the separation on the side is a little more risky, because they have a tendency to go up, come back down, and then go back up. Like this one did, only it took a little more time. Okay, this is kind of what we call the foot. I mean, you can almost picture the foot right here. Here's the leg coming down. Okay, and then here's the heel. We like to see separation at the heel of the foot. Okay, and then it comes in for a nice instep, and then it goes down. And I love to see a blister or a separation like this on the ball of the foot. This would be the ball of the foot, and I love to see it with a blister under here. Okay, that would give it separation from underneath. That would project it to the upside. Here's a nice one. Here we're kind of confused with these BBs. Coming down, they're ziggy-zaggy, ziggy-zaggy, ziggy-zaggy. They're really not, in a uniform, symmetrical type of a line. So they're a little bit confused. And I have to take away points because of that. They're confused. Oh, this one here, I got to give this guy a 9 here. He's nice and symmetrical. He's got nice separation. I would give this guy a 9. Let me just write those down a little bit. Maybe you can come back and just kind of review it. And oh, that's what a 9 looks like. Okay. Um, he started getting real ziggy-zaggy here, kind of confused. But in the last couple seconds here, last couple minutes, he got some nice separation back here. See how wide it got here? That's very important. The wider the better, because the further he is away from the band, the more that string is being pulled back from the bow and arrow, the more pressure he's got to go to the upside. So as he's coming down here, he's really not, I'm really not fond of him. But then at the end, he straightens his act out and says, man, look at me. I'm looking pretty now. I got to give him, just because he's so short, okay, if he would have been this separated from way back here, I would have given him a 9 for sure. But since he's so short with this separation, I got to give him, maybe a 7.5 or an 8. But he's got a lot of separation, so I would say probably I'd have to give him an 8. Okay, and then he comes up and he's on the rail. Doesn't give me any indication that he's going to do anything different, because when he's on the rail, that's telling me there's no change coming up real soon. Here we got something coming from the Okay, and in our little BB charts, those little charts that we have on the side, there's little boxes. You can't really see the whole BB. If you look at the whole window, you probably see something like that, right? In our BB charts. Really, the only thing I'm really concerned about is the last 10, 15 BBs. I don't need to see what happened way back here. It doesn't matter to me. I only need to see, oh, back here. Let's see what happened, not too long ago. So I don't really need to see any type of divergence, things of that nature in the small BB charts. Okay, we've got other ways to measure that. But here, coming from the side, okay, it's very hard to predict that this guy is actually going to have any type of separation, because it just happened so fast. I mean, here he pulled away and then he slammed back in. This guy would be very difficult to predict because it happened so fast, compared to this guy here, where he actually gave you all the time in the world to show you that, man, look at this big separation here coming from the side, then coming from the top. He was coming from the side, and then he came from the top here. Okay, and we can see that he didn't work out like we would anticipate. He actually, went further up, but still, it's a beautiful picture. I got to give him a 10 just because he tried. So just because he's got separation on the top there, I got to give him a 10. And here he's coming up. I mean, very hard to see because it happened quickly. That's why I like to have them separated for a longer time, because they're easier to spot. I mean, to see this guy, you almost had to be looking right at him the whole time to see the change. I mean, by the time he gets here, you could probably notice it. But as he's right here, you really wouldn't be seeing anything that's, looking strange or funny to you. But as he got here, okay, now you're starting to see it. So the longer that they're separated, the easier it is on us to be able to predict that something's going to happen, because we've got more warning. The more warning we have, the more we can put 2 and 2 and 2 and 2 together to make 8 or whatever it is. So because he's so short with the separation, I can't give him much of a score. Oh gosh, I don't know, maybe a 6.5, not even a 7, but I'm going to go with a 7. Oops, don't want to do that. I'm going to give him a 7. Huh? Yes. Exactly. This is a good example of the drop in the pop. Okay? Separation from the side. Anytime I take a trade with separation coming from the side, I need to understand that there's a good chance I might make a gift here because what it does, it has a tendency to go up a little bit and then come back down. It's called the drop in the pop. It's meant for the upside. If this was reversed, this guy would be dropping and then popping. So if you stand on your head, it makes sense, I guess. But I know for a fact that getting into a trade that's got separation from the side is not as probable as one coming from the bottom. And I also know that if I'm taking a trade because of separation on the side, I know full well that if I make a gift, I need to be prepared to make a gift coming into a trade coming from the side because the drop in the pop is very prominent. This could be, in other words, if this is coming down to my area, the 76, let's say, I would take a trade here knowing that, okay, it's coming from the side. It's not a probable trade like one coming from the bottom with separation. So I'm fully aware of that, but I'm not going to miss this trade. It could go to the moon from here, and I'm not going to sit there as it's way up here and say, man, you should have got in there, because sometimes they take off from here, but not all the time, and I don't feel bad if I make a gift if it doesn't go up and comes back down to one of my other areas. This could have been the 76. This could have been the 89 or the double bottom. Okay. So getting in here, I don't feel bad at all if I make a gift. Part of doing business. You got to pay some overhead sometimes. But then I'm looking at this guy here. Look at the size of this separation here. I mean, that's just huge. That's just, I mean, that string is pulled so far back. I mean, it's just going to, boom, just going to take off. So I, he's not from the bottom. Okay, he's definitely from the side here. So I can't really give him a 10, but I would really like to. I mean, I got to give him a 9.5 just because of the size of the separation. And he was very easy to see coming. I mean, if we're looking at from, the vertical line to the left, you got plenty of time, even from this baby here. You could kind of watch him manifest, and as he's turning here, he's just huge. You just know something's going to happen here. Okay, so correlating this picture with one of our home plates, 76, 89, double top bottom, there's a high probability that, man, it's going to take off from here. And all I'm trying to get is 2.5, 3 points. Okay, that's all I am after. I know that I can make 2.5, 3 points day after day after day after day. It's not, it's not difficult. Difficult is making 10, 15 points a day. Making 2.5, 3 points a day, that's not difficult at all. And I'll show you. Say, oh, you're full of baloney, Horace. No, it really is easy. I'll show you. Exactly. Exactly. And knowing what to look for. I mean, what we're doing here is what you're doing here is learning a new language. You're learning BB talk. And when the BBs talk, if we understand that language, we can communicate with it. It communicates to us. It communicates to me. It tells me what it has intentions of doing with a high probability of success. It's not 100%. I'm not saying that every time we see separation underneath, it's 100% guarantee that we're going to go up for 2, 3 points. There is no such guarantee, but there is a high probability involved of 8 out of 10 times possibly that when you see this picture, this is going to happen. So if we play the probabilities, that's to our advantage. If the market is speaking to us through the BBs and we can understand what it's saying, we can use that to our advantage. We can manipulate that. Okay, here's one coming from the side. Okay, it didn't have that drop in the pop. So if I would have said, "Oh, I'm not getting in here," it's going to have that pop still. Well, I would have been a sore loser here because it went down for quite a few points. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So when I'm seeing the picture in my little chart window, okay, the little squares, we got the MACDs, only the MACDs. I mean, we're kind of seeing it like this. Okay, so I guess what I'm saying is I like to stretch my BBs so I can see the separation. And the only thing I'm really concerned about is what happened on this run up. Back here, it doesn't concern me in the slightest. It has no value to me whatsoever. That's history. I don't care what happened. I'm looking to see what's happening right here, right now, what's going to happen in the future. So back here doesn't help me predict the future. Right here helps me predict the future. So that's the only thing I'm concerned about. So here we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 BBs here before it went down. So that's really all I'm concerned about is this run up here and then waiting for separation and then making a decision. If this separation got grander and grander and bigger as it's approaching my double top, well, I'm getting real interested in taking a short because I see the more bars I've got going up to my 100%, the more separation I'm getting. And I'm thinking, oh, sweet, look at that. Right at my 100%, it had this large separation. Go short right here. Okay? In the same respect as this one here. Here we got separation under here. This is beautiful. Okay, yeah, it didn't work. Okay, hindsight, we can see this didn't work, but still, I need to appreciate this beautiful picture here with this beautiful separation. The only thing that was missing here, it wasn't at our area. It wasn't ready to turn, but still, I need to appreciate this beautiful picture here. This, just the amount of separation, just the slow curl like this. The slow curl like this gives us all the time in the world to get into that trade, opposed to a bar setup like this. This one came up, and it quickly went down. So the window of opportunity for this picture is a lot less to get into the trade than an opportunity with this picture. This one slowly rolled over. You had a lot more time to get in this long than you did to get into this short. Okay? And yeah, it didn't work, but still it's a beautiful picture here. It just wasn't at one of our areas, probably. So this guy here, okay, I'm going to have you rate these, so I better start rating them so you get some kind of idea of how I'm rating them. Let's see, that guy, 7 maybe. 7. He wasn't that pretty. Didn't have that much separation. Okay. Mm-hmm. If it was at our area, absolutely. 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 The critical thing is if it's doing that at our area. Okay, if this is giving us this picture here at a 76 retracement, I am more than guaranteeing you that I'm going to go long right here because of this picture. If it's at a 76 with this picture, I will guarantee you I'm going to take a long here. Yes, I made a gift, but I'm fully aware of the fact that drop in the pop. So here we had another one. If this was the 89, I guarantee you I would have taken another entry right here. Okay? Because the picture was just beautiful here. I mean, right here, I got to give this guy, maybe an 8. Yeah, he didn't work, but still, he could have a beautiful picture like that and did work, and I wouldn't be giving him the credit that he deserves. He deserves the credit of an 8 because he's just huge, curling nice and slow, giving us plenty of time to get in. So is this guy. He's curling nice and slow. Plenty of time to get in. I got to give this guy, 8.5. 8.5. He's just a prettier picture than his cousin above him there a little bit. Okay, 8.5. And yeah, you're going to say it didn't work. That doesn't matter. It's still a beautiful picture whether it worked or not. It just wasn't at one of our areas, but it still was a pretty picture. Okay, here, this guy is coming down without separation. And he went up, for quite a few points. He did not tell me he was going to do that because when they're on the rail like this, there's a higher probability of him going further down. So when I see a picture like this and he goes up for 5, 6, 20 points, I don't feel bad because I wasn't aware that he was going to do that. He didn't give me the wink, wink, nod, nod, secret handshake that, he was telling me something in code. He wasn't telling me he was going to do something because this picture tells me he's going to go further down because this is a sign of strength. And I missed that trade because of that. Hey, there's another one coming along pretty soon. I see a separation like this. Even though it's coming from the side, it's still got a lot of separation. I need to appreciate that. That's I got to give him an 8 right there. Okay. Yeah, here's a tricky one. Here we had separation underneath. Okay, I would have definitely been considering a long just because of this picture here on the 440 with this separation underneath. I mean, it looked like he had a lot of potential. Okay, I don't know if that was an area or not, but I would have definitely been considering him for an entry just because of the way he looks right here. So he's underneath. I got to give him a 10. The thing is, I need to correspond the 10s with my areas. I mean, maybe it's a beautiful picture here, but it just wasn't at one of the areas that I like to take. So here's when it's really kind of confusing. He started out with symmetry, separation, and then he gets tighter to the rail. What he's telling me right here is he's going further down. Okay, he reversed and went up, 10 points to the upside. I can't feel bad. He wasn't telling me he was going to do that. So if I missed a trade, I'm not crying about it. There was no way I could have known he was going to do that compared to this guy. Okay, this guy's going up. He's got symmetry. Here's the example of the drop and the pop. Okay, this guy's coming up. Symmetry, separation. If I don't take it here, I might miss the whole trade. So if this picture is corresponding with my 76 or my 89, I'm taking the trade. Obviously, you can see it didn't work, but still, I'm not going to take the chance. It looks like it's going to do something right here. So this guy right here, I got to give him 8.5. He doesn't have that much separation, but it's definitely pretty. 8.5 there. Okay. And I took a short here. I made a gift. And I know in the back of my mind, they're not always going to be as probable coming from the side as coming from the top. So I made a gift here, and I'm fully aware of the fact that, okay, if it's not here at the 76, maybe it's here at the 89. And sure enough, as it approaches the 89, I'm getting even a better picture. This is a beautiful. I mean, when you see a trade like this, you got to call people over and say, hey, come here, look at this. This is just a wonderful picture. This is you take a picture of something like this and you put it on your wall because this thing is worth a lot of money, okay? This is a 10. It was the drop and the pop. It actually popped back up and gave us a nice run down. When I first started collecting data, before I really knew how to trade, before I could even envision the possibility of the charts telling me something is going to happen before it happens. I knew it could do that, but I didn't know how. So when I first started doing my research, my data collection, I just looked for this picture because I knew every time I see this type of a picture, we had a strong move to the downside in this case, strong move to the upside if it was reversed. I would just sit there all day long and just wait for this picture, okay? If I went to the kitchen to have lunch or something, I mean, I better make it quick because, I could miss it. But if I just waited for this particular picture, I knew that if I waited all day for that, I could be profitable that day. And it worked. That's actually how I started collecting my data and figuring out, like, wow, this is really awesome because there's more to it than just looking for a little bulge or so many other things that give us clues all the time. But this is how my data collection actually originated, just looking for this picture here. And I'd go through, months and months and months and months of charts, probably like 9 months worth. I would circle every one of these, and then I would see, oh, what do the price bars look like when I see that picture? I go, look at that, man. It's always at a tippy top, at a peak. I go, interesting. So that's really what I give credit to starting my research here on predicting the future with BBs. Oh, this is beautiful here. This is a beautiful picture. It wasn't at our area, obviously, because it didn't work. This is even a better picture right here as he curves up like that. Then he came down. It wasn't at our area, or maybe he wasn't intending to do that. Here, actually, an even better picture. Just the separation here is just beautiful. Okay, so all the way down here, he had so many different opportunities to do what we thought he was going to do, but he actually didn't do it in a nice, smooth manner. He tried it a couple times, okay, just by what we're looking at here, but really, this could have been the 76. This could have been the 89. This could have been the double bottom. Okay, so it doesn't make sense here that we can explain, but that's a possibility on the price bars if we look at the price bars. But anyway, this is still a pretty picture. I can't disregard the fact that this is a pretty picture. That's got to be 8.5. I got to give it an 8.5 just because it's got so much potential. At the area, exactly. I mean, like I said, this could have been at the 89 or the 76. It says, no, not ready yet. It came down and tried the same thing at the 89. It says, oh, still not ready yet. And then finally, at the double bottom, it does it. Okay? So that's where this scenario comes in perfect. I'm not going to miss the trade from here if it takes off. I'm going to take the chance because the picture is telling me there's a high probability entry right here. This separation tells me there's a high probability entry going on right here. I just need to match this up to my home plate, to my area. So that's an 8.5. I got to give this guy probably the same thing. And down on the bottom here, he wasn't as predictable because he didn't have that big of a separation. So actually, this guy here probably gets about a 7, something like that, because he just wasn't that predictable. He worked, yeah, but he just wasn't that predictable. Okay, here. This is garbage, garbage, garbage. I can't tell by garbage. Garbage, garbage, garbage. Here we had a little separation, but it's hard to catch that separation because the time element just, you can't really tell, okay? As he turned, it's very difficult. It's very difficult. The only way we can anticipate something like this is if we're sitting there waiting for it to come up to that level, saying, okay, here it's coming up to my price bars. If these were price bars, I'm thinking, okay, if the price bars come up to my 76 and I see this picture, well, okay, now it means something, okay? But it's very difficult to catch time-wise because it happens so quick. So here we got garbage, 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 garbage. Yeah, he went way, way, way down, but here he did not tell me that he was going to do that. So I would have had to let that go and not think about it again. Here we had separation underneath. Not a lot of separation, not underneath, from the side. Here we got separation from the side, but it wasn't a real lot of separation. This is probably a 7. But underneath there, all of a sudden, he straightened his act out and started flying right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. But still, I'm not going to miss the trade from here if this picture happened at my 76. It went up, came back down. Maybe this was my 89. I'm not going to miss the trade from here because I know a lot of times it'll just go straight up from there. I'm not going to always wait for hey, I could have the drop and the pop. Yeah, I will have to pay for it by making a gift with getting in here, but still, I'm not crying over it because I know a lot of times we have the drop and the pop. So actually, a lot of times we get the drop and the pop, and I'm anticipating it. So that's underneath. I got to give him a 10. And then look at this. I mean, my goodness. If you just wait all day for this picture, like I said, it's just a very high probable trade. But here, he's on the rail. Nothing suspicious going on here. Nothing out of the ordinary. He's just going up with a lot of strength. He's really not separated here. Really not separated here. All of a sudden, he gets very separated. This is when I'm interested. I'm not interested when he's on the rail with a lot of power. I'm interested when he's got separation, and he just didn't have any here to really speak of, but all of a sudden he just changes the whole atmosphere just by giving us that. I mean, that's a beautiful 10 right there. Well, here, aside from the top, it's kind of like, oh goodness. Here it's from the side. I know exactly what you're saying because we used to have discussions with Henry. He would say, "This is from the side." I go, "Man, come on, it's kitty corner. It's coming from the top corner." Okay. So he'd always say, "No, man, that's coming from the side," and he'd be very stubborn. He'd say, "Oh, see, that's coming from the side." So I go, "No, okay, let's look at it from this way here. Let's look at it from this line. It's coming from kitty corner." So anyway, I made up my own rules. This is a pretty picture, no matter what. It's coming from the top side kitty corner. It's still a 10. Okay, it's still a 10. Here, oh, this is sweet. This is sweet right here. Okay. As you see this guy coming down, he's on the rail here, on the rail, on the rail. I'm not thinking about going long here because he's on the rail. He's got power. All of a sudden he starts to separate. I'm getting interested. But I'm not interested unless he's at my area. If it's not at my area, I could care less what he's doing right here. I'm just saying hurry up and get to where you're going because I need to take a long pretty soon. If I'm not in this short, if I didn't take this short from the top for whatever reason, I am just sitting there waiting for a long. I'm just contemplating, drinking my coffee, reading my emails. I'm just waiting for this guy to come down to my 76, 89, or double bottom and show me a beautiful picture on the BBs. That's all I'm waiting for. So if I'm not in this short, I'm just waiting patiently for my long. And as he's coming down here, he gets tighter on the rail again. Oh, that's not a pretty picture. He's probably going down further. As you see him coming down here, he's actually separating right at the very end here. What makes him separate is quick price bars. Quick price bars is what makes the BB separate from the band. So the quicker the price bars are coming down, the more separation we're getting. And that's a good thing because what they usually do is they go down quickly, hit our area, and then start bouncing in reverse. So what you're actually seeing here is the tail end of the big thrust to the downside getting ready to reverse. Right here, just this beautiful separation right here. It's just huge. I would have loved to have seen it start from up here, something like this. Go separated like that. But he didn't, okay? He actually made up for his loss of points in the last couple price bars or last couple BBs here. From here to here to here. The last 4 BBs, he just turned everything around compared to what it looked like up here. Okay? And it was kind of easy to predict because he just got so far away with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 price bars that there's plenty of time if you're waiting for it. Actually, if I'm measuring my areas here, I'm just waiting for the price bars to come down, watching what the BBs are doing as it's approaching it. So if you're waiting for it to happen, I mean, you had all the time in the world to actually see this one coming and getting ready for it. Because once it makes your point of impact at your 76, 89 double bottom, this picture has a high probability of reversing. And if you're, waiting for it, you got all the time in the world to get in that trade to go to the upside. So right here, I got to give this guy a 9 just because the last couple BBs there, he just straightened his act out and showed us a lot of potential there. Oh, wow, time is coming up here. Yeah, so if you could just go over charts just like this, just look at the BBs and just give them a beauty contest type of a situation. Just mark them down. And we'll go over it next time. I just want to make sure we're on the same page as to what a beautiful BB looks like and what a not so beautiful BB looks like. Something like this, don't even give it a score. If it's garbage, if it's below a 6, don't even give it a score. Just I don't want you putting that into your subconscious and even acknowledging that it's important of any to any degree. It's totally irrelevant because it doesn't help us predict the future of any sort. Okay. No, this is the 610. Okay, yeah, try it on the. Um, yeah, this should be a 440. Um, okay, yeah, 440 and the 144 is the only one we really concentrate on for this, and we'll go further with that. And gosh, we gotta get a lot of bad habits out of your brain. Looks like looking at your charts here, all the indicators. Let's see. I've got a couple of them in there. Yeah. You can use the tick and BB for now. We're not going to use the trigger lines right now. Okay. Let's get you down here for the next session. Are you available on Friday? I've got a couple open on Friday. Couples. I've got one open at 11 o'clock my time on Friday. Oh, sounds good to you? Okay, wonderful. Wonderful. Works out great. No, we'll just go over it next time we're in class. Okay. But what we will be doing is you'll be making videos and things of that nature. Okay. Do you have Camtasia by chance? Okay, that sounds good. If you don't have it, I've got some a free license for it for educational purposes, so you don't have to pay for it. But if you got it already, that's fine too. My classes start at 5 minutes after the hour. They go to the end of the hour, just so I have a chance to use the washroom in between students and things like that. Grab a glass of water, whatever. But okay, yeah, just do some homework there, and we'll check back and see how you did on giving the beauty contest to the BBs on Friday. Okay, I will see you then. Bye bye.